welcome to Jackie's Little Corner. I am Jackie. So I was recently introduced to a new channel, The Lifelong Reader. And I swear I'd seen her before. I mean, I'm wondering maybe I watched one of her videos a while back. But she looked familiar. But she said she was new to BookTube. At least a month. It seems she's at least a month old, so maybe last month I watched one of her videos, but she looked vaguely familiar to me. But anyway, she, in her videos, she's kind of done a recent reads type videos, and she also has done videos where she presents 3 questions that she asks you about what you're reading, like questions about your authors that you read, or about specific types of books you read, stuff like that. And so I decided to do one of her videos because I saw Steve Donahue do it. And he was the one who recommended the channel. And I thought I would go do it because it actually feels kind of like a tag video, except for it's only 3 questions. And you know how tags kind of can get stale because they always feel like, name books that represent this, name this many books that represent that. And you know, I like the idea of creating tags and answering some of them, but it's hard to come up with ones that aren't stale and ones that feel original, or ones that feel like they're a little more challenging for you instead of just naming some books. So her idea of presenting to her subscribers with 3 questions, and that you give an answer to, if you have a YouTube channel like I do, giving an answer on your channel, answering the questions on your channel, or answering them in her comments if you just are a subscriber, or if you don't want to do a video, even if you have a channel, you can respond in her comment section. So I decided to go ahead and make a video. And I did notice there was really one question that I knew I definitely had the answer for, the middle question actually, and then the other 2 questions was going to be a little harder, but I did come up with answers. So the first question I wrote on a little notepad. Her first question was, what is a book you own simply because it's beautiful? Now, I try not to be and I'm not trying to judge people who do this, but I try not to have multiple copies of books, even if I find them pretty, although I'm drawn to pretty covers, and I've always wanted some of those special edition books. And I do think sometimes it's cool to see books that have the spine, have painted edges on the spine and stuff like that, but I don't go buy them all the time. I just buy a basic copy because I just want to read it, And like I said, if you do that, that's you do you. I'm not trying to, but I do have a couple of books that I think are kind of pretty. And I'm not someone who's gonna buy another copy. Although a part of me kind of wishes I had a different copy of this book. But I can't afford or have the shelf space to have another copy. I mean, I've taken risk every so often to have multiple. I recently got that paperback edition of Gone with the Wind, but I took off the hardback book off my shelf, and I'm actually using it as kind of a decoration type thing. But, because I wasn't sure how my mom would feel about me buying another copy and then not, when I already had that one. Because it was originally her book. And sometimes I think she's, thinks it's a little silly to have so many, is always, worried about me having shelf space and stuff like that. But the one I ended up choosing for an answer was one of my favorite Dickens novels, which actually, part of me feels like I need to reread it. And I did start rereading it because it's a long one. It's one of his biggest ones, and that is Bleak House. And this is a cloth-bound Penguin edition of it. I think it has the pretty ribbon bookmark, and it's a, each cover has a some image on there, and it has, that is something symbolic for the book. Each one is a different color. And I've heard, complaints about them, not complaints, but just the reason why people will just collect them and not read them is because, and you can already kind of see it, is that they fade. And like, as you can see it here, but I don't have the shelf space to get on multiple, copies of all the books I have cloth-bound editions. I can't have multiple copies of, but I like it, and it feels very like an older, like how they would have read books back in the day before paperback was a thing. Let's see, and I really like this red, this burgundy red color, this wine red color. I think, I don't remember what the cage would be symbolic of, though. But I do notice that, yeah, it is fading every time I touch it. But I can't, like I said, I can't have multiple copies because I don't have the space. So, and because it's cloth bound, I don't know if I would want to get rid of it. So maybe it was a mistake to get into cloth bound collecting, but it's too late now. So that's my pretty book. Okay, and then this is the second question, is the one that I think I have more of an answer. Question 2 is, what is one reading habit you like to change, and why? So, my reading habit is, well, lately, especially recently, I've been watching videos about book annotation and really getting to know your books, really immersing inside your books. And Tristan in the Classics did a video about that recently that I had just watched. And the reading habit I would like to is, I would want to immerse myself and really study the books I'm reading. The problem is there are times when I want to just read my book. I don't want to have to worry about taking notes or, figuring out, okay, when's the best time to annotate, and is this something I should annotate? And I know people say annotate, people say do whatever you want, and it doesn't matter what you put in your book and what you say. It's your thoughts and feelings as you're reading. And then, but there are times when I just want to read. And especially like during times where I read during my 15-minute break at work, when I go to work. And I don't have a lot of time. I mean, 15 minutes is not a lot of time because, first of all, our break room, because I don't drive, so I don't have to go to a car. I don't go to a car. But I have to, I go to the back, so I have to head back there and go up the stairs. And, and sometimes when the TV's on in the break room, it kind of slows down my reading because I lose concentration. And, and it's so, I don't have a lot of time to get and of course I want to get back. I want to leave a few minutes before the actual 15 minutes are up because I want to clock in right at the 15-minute mark. Which most of the time almost always, I'm a few minutes late anyway. And it's not like I get in trouble because it's only a few minutes. But still, I still try to get as close to being on time as I can. So I don't have time. And then if I'm annotating the books or really scanning the book, that's going to take more time, more concentration. And then I'm not going to get anything, not a lot read. So, but I still would like to change it, and I would still like to take the time to really to mark up my books and write down my thoughts on the books. And because there's some books I want to remember, like I'm reading this one, A History of Japan, and I want to be able to remember all the things I learned in this book and really appreciate it. And granted, I'm writing a good chunk of the book, so it's kind of, but obviously I can start whenever. But I would like to consider making, really thinking about what I read. I still don't know if I would ever, spend a few, meditate on the book and not pick up the next book right away. Because I'm excited to read, and I'm excited to read the next book. But I still, like I said, I want to dive deep into the books I'm reading. So that's the habit I would like to change. And there was one other thing I was thinking of, but now I don't remember what it was. There was something else I was thinking of that I could talk about, but again, I don't remember what it was. So anyway, so now we are on to question number. The last question, her third and final question, is: what is a book you read more than once and it improved upon rereading? And so I have a lot of books that, well, I guess Dracula is one that I've actually finished and reread, and I've liked it a little bit more. I've been more intrigued by it. But really, it's more like a lot of books that I like. I have more books that are really long books that the first time I read them, I didn't like them. But then years later, I'm reading them now and I like them a lot better. And one book that comes to mind is Les Mis, where I read an abridged version and I thought it was just okay, and I preferred the musical version of the story. But then a couple years ago, I read it. I didn't finish it though. I've read, and I definitely was getting more into it this time around and liked it a lot better this time around. And I'm trying to, that's really the only example, and it's not even a book that I've read more than once. Like, the books I've read more than once are often books that I already love, and then I'm just rereading them again because I love them so much. But I honestly can't think of one that I've read all the way. Like, the closest is Dracula. But even then, I don't know if it really improved necessarily. I'm trying to, Sleepy Hollow. No, I still didn't love Sleepy Hollow. So yeah, I see, this is what I mean. I was having trouble, like, I wanted to answer these questions, but the only one I really had a good answer for was the second one, which is about the whole reading habits. Now I remember. The other thing I was going to say about reading habits is another one that I might attempt to break, is, which I've already worked on over the last few years anyway, which is prioritizing reading over watching TV and watching YouTube videos. But in this case, but I want to do more with that and read more instead of just taking so many breaks in between. Although I'm already feeling that because I haven't even picked up my book yet. Because, I decided to do a load of laundry, and then I had a moment of panic because I thought I broke our washing machine, and so I got sidetracked about that, and then I was waiting to see what my dad would say, and see where, as he was looking at it for me and telling me if I actually broke it or not. And then, while I was eating lunch, and it got to, and I decided to film an update video, and then, I realized it was already it was like 1:30 at the time, and I don't want to, and I like to eat lunch around 1 and not wait until 2, because I feel like the later I eat lunch, the less inclined I'll be hungry by dinner time, so I try to eat the same time every afternoon, except for on work days. So time kind of got away from me, and when I was eating lunch, because I don't I know I could read while I'm eating, but I've learned over the years that it's kind of hard for me to read a book, hold a book, and then eat at the same time. So I just watch a YouTube video while I'm eating, but I haven't gotten any reading, but I want to continue to add on more reading time than watching YouTube and watching TV. I have gotten to the stage where I don't always turn on the internet as soon as I get up in the morning. I have instead I will go downstairs and eat breakfast and stuff like that. Maybe watch a little TV unless my dad gets there first. My dad or mom gets there first. And then, I've also taken a reading, after I get a start reading a section in the Bible, and they're reading some poetry. I've been trying to build that habit. And what the habit I want to change is I want to get, again, I want to increase and add more reading time. Like, I haven't gotten to the point where I'm reading 24 hours. Well, not like exactly 24 hours, because it's like no matter how much I love reading, I'm not going to do a 24-hour readathon. I like my sleep, and I like to take breaks in between my reading and watch TV or something, or watch YouTube videos, or interact with people around me, people in my life, like my parents. But I do want to continue to have it come as close to reading all day, instead of like read an hour or two and then watch TV, or let's face it, watch YouTube videos, because I have not done that. And like, I still watch movies and TV shows, but most of the time now I'm just I watch YouTube videos a lot more. But I just want to add to, like I said, that's the thing I want to change, is I want to make sure I continue to add on to my reading time and just read more. Like, not necessarily read 24 hours, but just read a lot longer. And this is not me worrying about screen time or anything. I mean, I probably do a little bit of a bit too much screen time, but that's not something I worry about as much, because I think I'm doing a lot better than my parents at that. Getting off, because they're both like on their phones a lot, and I don't know who does it more, my mom or dad, because they both say the other one is on their phone a lot more than they are, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm not as worried about that. I mean, I still am fascinated by these videos that discuss that, and how that's part of the problem. AI and screen time are part of the problem why kids can't read as much anymore. But that's not my priority. My priority is just making sure, just continuing to add on, because I want to, it will allow it. I think it's good to get more reading done. I mean, but so yeah, those are my answers for the 3 questions from the Reading Life. I will post a link to her channel on when I upload this video, and if you want to answer one of the 3 questions, feel free to. If I remember, I will post the questions in the description box below, and you guys can give your answers. I mean, you don't have to, of course, but if you want to, I will provide the questions for you. And I hope you are enjoying your current reading, and I will talk to you all later. All right, bye!